And also, Colette's just a brawler. God, I think. Guys, Colette is not.
Hello! As some of you may know, I'm a Colette main in Brawl Stars. I think that her design, gameplay mechanics, and playstyle are all really cool, and those are definitely the only reasons I like to play her. And I feel like I was never able to fully show you how much I like her. I mean, just look at her.
Nah, thanks, I'm fine. I know what she looks like.
You're gonna look at her and tell me that she is great.
Okay, but please put the machine gun down.
No. I don't just want this video to be another over-explaining video. I hope I can somehow stretch it to at least 10 minutes and put as much effort into it as possible. Screw you, Bedlam.
Brawler. God, I think not good.
Do not go.
Colette is an epic damage dealer that at power 11 has 6,800 HP. That is just as much as, for example, a Leon or Griff. Like most damage dealers, she has an average movement speed. Her main attack is definitely one of the more complicated ones. You shoot one projectile that has an alright range, and the damage it does is just their current HP minus 37%. This means that the more health your opponents have, the more damage you can deal to them. The more you have, the more you owe. If you, for example, try to shoot a tick, your shots won't nearly get as much value in comparison to a Frank. This is like the best and worst mechanic at the same time, because if you have to play against one or more squishy brawlers, it makes your shots deal like 0 damage. Luckily, they added a minimal damage of 1000, no matter how much HP your enemy has. I tried to calculate at which point you hit the minimal damage cap, and I am not completely sure if it's true, but I think it's about 2700 health. Source, trust me bro. Another interesting fact is that the shield gear doesn't actually contribute to your maximum health, meaning that Colette can't deal more damage to you just because you're using it, which in my opinion is a real shame. Almost everything I just said doesn't apply to pets or buildings, because if you hit anything that isn't a player, you deal a respectable 1000 damage with every shot. This also applies to the save and heist, which is one of the reasons why it's the best mode for her. I feel like this is also a good time to mention that she has a normal reload speed, which is 2 seconds per ammo. Haha, I just made you watch that entire clip, even though it's not that important.
Why you ugly, D1Brawl?
Anyways, her super time to collect makes her dash into the direction you've aimed at. It has a pretty big range, and more importantly, you instantly dash backwards at where you activated it after either hitting a wall or just after the first dash. If you manage to successfully hit an enemy brawler with it,
Colette is not good.
you take 20% of their current health, and you can potentially hit someone twice with it due to how you get sent back. During the animation, you can't shoot or cancel the attack, so essentially you're a bit like a sitting duck since you can't really dodge anything, and you don't get any resistances or buffs while you're running. If you hit something that isn't a player, like for example a heist safe, you deal exactly 1000 damage, which is twice as much as your main attack. And because the heist safe can't dodge your super, you're basically getting a free 8000 damage every time you use it on the safe, which is 10%. So if you have the chance to dash on the save, it's almost always worth it. You can charge your super with 4 shots, and every time you hit someone with your super, you're also getting 1/4 of it back. If you aren't using your super on the heist safe, try to finish people off with it, because even though their minimal damage is the same, if you're lucky or good at aiming, you could hit someone twice with it. But enough about her basic abilities, it's time to talk about her gadgets and star powers. Her first gadget, Nah. After activating it, makes her deal 1500 more damage with the next shot of her main attack. It has a 10-second cooldown, and it's meant to be used on people who have low health, since securing kills without it is way harder, because as I already mentioned, she only deals 1000 damage on low enemies. I think it's really underrated. Her second gadget, Gotcha, lasts for 5 seconds. While it's active, her main attack makes her heal herself for 80% of all the damage she deals with it while it's active. This can give you an insane survivability, especially when you're targeting tanks with it, because the more damage you deal, the more health you can heal. See, it even rhymes. You should try to let the opponent shoot you first to make them waste their ammo, since you can just get it back in a matter of seconds. One last thing about her gadgets is that if you activate one of them, your opponents have no visual clue which gadget you're using. But I have no idea if this ever made any difference, because 90% of Colette mains exclusively use the second one and refuse to ever switch it. Just like how they refuse to shower.
No, wait please, I didn't actually meant to.
Anyways, her first star power push it makes her super push people away. How it works is that, if you hit someone with the first half of the attack, you bring them to the end of the dash. This almost guarantees that you get back half of your super, as long as you hit someone with it. It's meant to help you chain your super, and protect you from assassins, but it won't save you from running head first into a wall. Fuck! Her second star power mass tax is a lot more complex. Every time you now use your super, you gain a 20% damage reduction shield that stays for 5 seconds. It actually lasts a bit longer, because it only starts counting down after the super is over. This allows you to play a lot more aggressive, because if you're at full HP, that 20% shield turns your 6,800 health into an effective health of 8,500. But what is that? More text. For everything you hit with your super, you also get an extra 10% damage reduction on top of those 20. Doesn't matter if you hit a player or a box in Showdown. This can add up very quickly. And if the stars, or more like, the things you can damage, perfectly align, you get a 100% damage invulnerability shield.
Like that's ever gonna happen.
But even if you don't hit 8 targets, the shield basically turns you into a tank for 5 seconds. Together with her second gadget, she basically can't die. If you are new to playing Colette, I would recommend you to use the first star power, because it's just easier to use. And for her gadgets, it depends on the matchup. Use the second one if you're up against tanks, and the first one if you have to play against low health brawlers. For her gears, you can pretty much take anything besides speed. I personally like to use shield and health to max out my survivability like a coward. But sometimes I switch out health with damage, because only dealing 1,000 damage on low health enemies can get very frustrating at times. Her hypercharge is insanely powerful, especially in Heist. Besides having the usual stat boost, your super now gets a second wave. The second one appears a second after activating your super, and due to the stat boost, your super goes from 4,000 damage to 5,000 damage every time you hit something that isn't a player, which means that by pressing 2 buttons, your hypercharged super deals 20,000 damage to the Heist save. That's enough to instantly activate its first shield. When you use it on the safe, try to maximize its value. What I mean is avoid using it when the shield is about to activate, because the best time to use it is right after one of the shields is gone, because in theory, it only takes for hypercharged supers to win the game. Her best mode is by far Heist, but if you're a real Colette enjoyer like me, you can make her work in pretty much every game mode. I don't think it's justified to call her bad. I don't even think that she's situational. She's honestly pretty well-rounded. What is that picture doing on screen? I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm working on like 3 videos at the same time right now, so stay tuned for over-explaining Fang and ranking brawlers on how many war crimes they've committed part 2. Goodbye.